What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. Bye, singing dog. Bye, goal.
I pronounce you...
Bye, wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really?
Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Monday's edition of Sin Check Corner. Forgive my roughness, or my gruffness, rather. Let's go ahead and get our guest onto the line, please. Oh, excuse me, we're having some technical difficulties here today, too. This is off to a fine start. All right, my esteemed guest today is none other than the infamous Spencer Owens. And if you guys don't know anything about him, you're about to find out just the enigma that surrounds him and just what a fabulous individual he is. So without further ado, let's get him on the line and start our interview, shall we? Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Hello? Oh, my gosh,
Hello?
You sound so different. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm actually pretty excited. This is one of the very first interviews I've ever done while I have children in my domain. So I'm excited. I'm like, oh, gosh, I'm getting this interview squeezed in between my kids being home. So I'm like, way cool. So this is Spencer Owens. Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you, too. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone.
Oh, of course. Oh, of course. I'm so excited because I have so many questions for you. So we kind of want to delve into things. Let me just do a little bit of a backdrop about you, and then I'll ask you my first question. To those of you that don't know about Spencer, today's guest is just the mirror of self-learned. Excuse me. Let's try this again. Today's guest is the mirror of self-earned fame, fortune, and fun, is what I would call it. Spencer is a personification of a mover, a shaker, and a motivator, as I would call it. Even more importantly, he resonates all the happy his life beholds within it. He's a young man that I hope to acquaint myself to better today, as should you, of course. So seeing as how, I want to start out with the very basics, because I usually tend to believe that anyone's true passion kind of describes the be-all and end-all of a person. So I want to start out talking a bit about motocross, because as I understand it, it played quite a monumental role in determining your life's direction. So I'd like you to give us what I call the who, what, when, where, and why, which is basically tell us how you got into it, tell us what happened, tell us how that changed your life and your direction.
Well, you know, it's like you said, I mean, it was definitely, it played a huge role in my life. I mean, you know, like every kid growing up, you know, you had an idol and you wanted to be like that idol. And my dad's the one that got me into motocross and supercross. And I can remember just sitting there on the couch, just, you know, watching the races with them and, you know, getting the little toy motorcycles from, you know, Target and Walmart and building the tracks outside. And, you know, I lived it. I breathed it. I got my first bike. I started, you know, getting into it a little bit more. Then I started to race. And then, you know, my career, it was here and there, especially with the local races. And I said to my mom, I'm like, Mom, you know, it's time for me to step up. I wanna go to the nationals, and I wanna be somebody in this industry. And you know, so we went down to the bike shop the next day. I got a brand new Kawasaki KX 250F, so I could start racing the amateur classes. And for those of you who don't know, there's a huge amateur national in Tennessee, and it's called Loretta Lynn's Amateur MX National, and it's the singer Loretta Lynn. She puts it on at her ranch. She puts on the race there, and I was training for the local qualifier, and I basically just dropped out of the sky pretty much. I still, till this day, do not even know what happened. But from what I can remember, I fell out of the sky, hit straight on the ground after hitting a jump, and I broke my leg. And we went to the doctor, and he's like, you know, you're going to be out for a good, you know, 6 to 8 months. And as the time went on, you know, it just got worse and worse and worse, and I was devastated, like, you know, because it's what I wanted. It was my dream, and when it wasn't working out, I was just freaking out, and I had a little bit of a depression probably the first month to 2.5 months, and, you know, so I was just sitting there on the couch and having a little pity party, you know, and I was watching the news feeds and watching all these other guys getting hurt, and, you know, kids dying that were younger than me, and people getting paralyzed, and I was like, you know what, I want to help these guys. You know, I was fortunate enough to even be alive out of this accident, so I want to help them. So how can I help them? So I started thinking about ways that I could help them and ways that I can make lives better for everyone in the industry. And my mom's like, well, what if you start doing T-shirts? I'm like, T-shirts? I'm like, how am I going to do T-shirts? I mean, I don't know how to design. I don't know anything about it. So I'm like, well, just, make some stuff up, channel your inner creativity pretty much and work something up. So I started working up some stuff, and we had some local guys print it for me here, and we started raising money. And after that, I was hooked. I'd seen the stuff in the stores and all that stuff. I was like, you know what, I want to do this. I want to make this a wide-scale brand that not only helps people in need, but helps people just in the world, suffering from, self-esteem, bullying, or, whatever they're going through. I want to help them and inspire them through clothing. So that's pretty much how I got my start here in the industry.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, if it's not too difficult, because I know sometimes you don't want to cross too many personal lines, but how did you manage to cope with that and kind of rise above it? I mean, especially when, for instance, I wanted to be a writer my whole life, and let's say something detrimental happened and came along and it kind of derailed that. I know that I would have been devastated. So how do you kind of learn to triumph or rise above all this and say, I may not necessarily be able to do what I want to do, but I'm still going to do something?
Honestly, it was very difficult at first. Because like you said, you want something and it doesn't work out. It's kind of hard. You don't know, you don't know where to go. You don't know, where you're going to be. You kind of got to rethink your life a little bit. And I know people say, why didn't you, follow your dreams? You should have stuck with your dreams. It came to a point with me where I just changed my dream. It got to, I didn't want that for myself anymore. I knew that I think I was destined for greater things. I knew that I could be somewhere else, and I found a new passion. And it was very hard. It was very hard because I was devastated, because I thought it was a bad thing. But then when I changed my thought process, it was all different. When I realized that everything happens for a reason, then I was fine. That's kind of how it was for me.
And have you been fortunate enough, or should I say, have you come across individuals maybe with like situations that they've been able to relate, and has that been some form of solace to you over the course of time?
Definitely. You always are going to meet people that have that same thought process. Does that answer your question? And my volume's kind of low here.
No, I can hear you. You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So definitely, for sure.
Because I find that a lot of times if we surround ourselves with like-minded individuals or people who have had some of the same experiences, it does kind of tend to heal the wound a little bit quicker. And I admire you a great deal for that. Kudos to you. My sons admire you, actually. They are looking at pictures of you.
Thank you. Come to think of it, I've even met writers, over the course of time who have, actually sat down and talked to me and said, well, I'm just like you. I've had an injury, and I basically just stopped writing because I didn't want it. And they found a new passion and a new life that they wanted to pursue. So, in this industry, it's pretty common to find that. A lot of writers fall and very few make it, So a lot of people change their paths and have a story to tell after it. And I think that is it's fascinating to be able to meet people who understand me and realize that why I did what I did,
Of course, makes perfect sense. I agree. Well, let's kind of switch gears around a little bit. I want to kind of continue on with your journey. I know that Palomar College beheld the beloved Spencer, offering you a background as far as some excellent education. Maybe say to our listeners a little bit what benefits you believe that you have taken away by attending that particular college. What did you start out in? What did you major in? How did you benefit? Did you benefit? Some of my guests have come on and said, hey, you know what? Education, yes, you should pursue it, but at the end of the day, it was more life experience that taught them.
Definitely. I came to Palomar College at a very young age. I got into Palomar, I want to say about 6 to 8 months after I broke my leg, because by month 5, I started to really get into graphic design, and I had this cheap little program that came right on my computer. It was called Microsoft Draw, I think it was. So I was just, drawing along with some stuff and using photo editing websites for the fonts and for the pictures and stuff like that. And I said to my dad, I'm like, hey, I wanna get into this more. I really want to, study it. And so fortunately, my aunt's husband had some extra programs that he was done using, so he gave me his computer, and I started to play around on that. I got the hang of that, moved up a little bit more, but I didn't know too much about the program. So my mom was looking for some classes that I could take to kind of better my skills and better myself and get more familiar with what I was doing. And Palomar just had the perfect fit. I mean, I came into Palomar not knowing too much about what I was doing, and I left Palomar with so much knowledge, so much experience, and I felt better about what I was doing, and that's where I feel really took me to where I am today. It kind of gave me a better view of what I was getting into, and the people that I met there were just so awesome, and you know, they were harsh at times, and yet they were very helpful and wanted to help me grow. And for that, I'm so fortunate and so grateful. So I definitely recommend Palomar College. It's excellent.
Wonderful, absolutely, and look where it's gotten you from that, and that's great. And I'm, of course, a strong supporter of education. Of course, I'm not a byproduct of finishing my education, but I did okay, so you know I can see both sides of the perspective. Now, I've noticed to some degree, from what I know of, that your family has followed your path, because as I understand it, I know your brother recently was on a set someplace filming a commercial. Now, having some of the knowledge that you have of this industry that you've learned thus far, might you still push him to pursue this avenue? Because I know some of my other friends who have been in the industry for you know, a distinct amount of time have said, yeah, it's just not as colorful as you'd like. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know, if he really wants to get into it, I mean, I totally support him. I mean, he and I are so close. We're like best friends. So, I mean, you know, definitely when he came into it, you know, I was totally supportive. I mean, you know, you want to do it. You know, I'm a total believer in, you know, doing what you love and doing it. He wants to be a singer when he grows up. So this little stuff is just so we can kind of get his feet wet and, you know, earn some extra money. I mean, you know, he's only 11. So, I mean, he obviously wants to get some extra money to, you know, buy stuff, and that's cool. You know, he's got a little job, and it definitely matures him up a little bit, you know, and I give him as much advice as I possibly can. I mean, I've done some extra work in the past, so I definitely know, you know, the flow and what they do and how to act and, you know, what to bring and all that stuff. So I do help them along the way, and I wish I could be there with them. I wish I could, you know, walk them through it. But hopefully when I drive, I can start taking them to those things and just kind of be there as a support system. My dad or my mom takes them right now, so I'm a total supporter in it.
That's awesome. Now, I want to stick with family for a little bit and kind of ask, just maybe talk to us a bit about how integral all of the other family members have been as it relates to your professional success, because obviously on a personal level, that's one thing, but how have they motivated you, inspired you? Have they been there? What sort of advice have they given you as it relates to your career?
You know, definitely don't give up and stay true to who you are. It's something that my mom always tells me. You know, I mean, they're obviously older, so they have a little more life sense in them as well. So, but with, like me, you know, they haven't, you know, been in this industry, so we're all kind of learning together and all kind of walking together on this. And, you know, no matter what I've done, they've always been there. They've always supported me. I played baseball for a great number of years growing up, so they were always there to support me there. And I did dance for a while, so they were there to support me. Even with motocross, you know, my mom, I can tell you 100% that she was totally against it. I mean, it's dangerous, you know, hitting the jumps and, you know, crashing and getting hurt. But even though she didn't like it, you know, she still supported me in doing that. And for that, I'm totally grateful, because if she hadn't supported me, I probably wouldn't have crashed and I wouldn't have been here. So, you know, throughout my entire life, they've always been there. My grandparents, my aunt and uncle, they've always been there. And I do think as a family unit, we all really came together after my accident. I mean, you know, my uncle bought me a guitar that I'm still learning how to play, and even though it's difficult, and my grandparents made us dinner every night, my uncle made us dinner every night. So, I mean, we all grew closer together as a family. And let me preface this by saying that we all lived on the exact same property. So they would just walk over all the time and, you know, see how I was doing. And even till this day, they still do that. My grandma comes down every single day, and I love seeing her face every morning and asking, you know, what we're doing and what's new and, you know, how's life going. And my grandpa, I work for him every now and then and help him around the house. And he just had surgery, so we're helping him out. And I love it. My family's awesome, and without them, I wouldn't be who I am or where I am.
Okay. Now, just one other question related to that. I know that some of my guests in the past have come on and have said, hey, you know, my parents never wanted me to get into doing any of this. They wanted me to have a nice, stable job, not so much in the arts, that sort of thing. Were your parents just set from the get-go, you do whatever you want to do and we'll support you, or was there maybe some flack about, yeah, maybe this isn't the right move for Spencer?
Never, not one bit. They always supported me, you know, no matter what. My dad always tells me, he's like, if you want to go out and you want to, you know, be a ballet dancer, he's like, I'll support you. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you need to use it as a ground point.
Sure.
But no matter what, I mean, they've always supported me, and they've never ever laid down any lines or anything, and that's what's made me so happy over the years. Is just knowing that, you know, whether I dropped everything today and said, you know, I don't want to do 165 anymore, I don't want to do this Hollywood thing, I just want to, you know, hang out with friends, they would still support me, and they would realize that if it's what I wanted to do, then they would support it, you know, no matter what. So there's never been ever been any restrictions to life. It was, you know, do what you want, we'll support you. If we disagree, you know, we'll tell you and tell you our feelings on it, and you can decide then, or, you know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. I understand exactly what you mean, and that's amazing. It's wonderful. I think a lot of times some of the best success stories that you find in any area of entertainment stem directly from what you have at home, whether that is, you know, direct family, friends, etc. So that's amazing. Kudos to your family on that. That's absolutely awesome. Now, I'm just going to flip again. Oh, you're quite welcome, and you're so charming. Oh my gosh, you're such a cute little thing. I just had to throw that out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I happened to notice because I creeped on your Facebook page and I creeped on every website and everything you have because that's what a good journalist does. So I know more about you now than I used to. One thing I noticed is that obviously, of course, in some of the appearances you've made, two of your friends are actually going to be coming on my show in the near future. So I thought I'd take a 30-second plug just to say, hey, maybe you could give me the skinny or tell me a little secret about these two guys because they're coming up in the next few months on my show, both DJ Slade as well as Jimmy Deschler. So anything you can kind of share with me about these guys?
You know, Slade, I mean, yeah, I love Slade. Slade's so cool. I heard from somewhere, I don't remember where I heard it from, but I heard he really loves Power Rangers. I think it was Power Rangers or one of those. He loved it growing up. Jimmy, I don't know too much about Jimmy, but I know that he's pretty outgoing and he's pretty crazy, so I'm sure he's done some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, I just met Jimmy a few months ago, and I haven't really had too many chances to really hang out with him and really get to know who he really is and all of that, but I'm sure he's got some pretty fun stuff deep down in there.
Awesome.
But they're both awesome guys. I love to be in their presence and hang out with them. We've done events and stuff like that in the past, and we've visited a fashion show. I think it was last August, and there was a water thing there, and I remember Slade and I just bolting over there, just grabbing as much as we can, stuffing them like in our pants and in our jackets, just walk in, and we came home with like 7 or 8 bottles of this water, and it was like all free. So we were just living it up, and we were just taking what we could.
Well, look at that. My goodness. I'm also a staunch supporter of that, too. I always feel that whoever surrounds you is a clear representation of part of who you are. So that's awesome. And I'm excited and looking forward to hosting them as well. That's awesome. So thank you. So prior to us starting to detail the diary of professional prizes and things that you've done, I wanted to kind of shine upon one part of your world, meaning the spectrum of charitable contributions that you've done. To those of you who are unaware of Mr. Spencer Owens here, he willingly has sacrificed his time to devote to numerous organizations, some of which including St. Jude, Toys for Tots, Write It Down Foundation, as well as numerous anti-bullying campaigns. So it should be noted that I'm noticing a pattern here that there's a frequent amount of this side work involving children. So I wanted to ask, A, is there a leniency towards children's charities for some reason? And second of all, I was also wondering or intrigued, might you somewhere down the road establish a foundation for motocross survivors, victims, families, etc.?
Well, let me preface this by saying that I love kids. I love kids. I love little kids. I love all kinds of kids. I love to play with them. I love to hang out with them. For some reason, I'm intrigued with kids, and I do feel that getting the kids while they're young is a good setup to who they're going to be growing up, if that makes sense. So, you know, if you show one kid just some sort of kindness, and they'll remember that with them their entire life and be exactly what they remember, because they'll remember how they felt. And, you know, as a kid, you know, I can remember, you know, just, you know, seeing like all these, you know, foster kids on the TV and, you know, all the St. Jude's kids. And it just made me so sad to, like, think that, you know, that they couldn't go outside and play, you know, like I could, you know, with my friends or anything like that. So there was a little bit of sadness there. And now that I'm older, now that I have some knowledge of what has to be done to help those kids, I want to help those kids. You know, I mean, I've said to my parents, you know, off and on, I want to go to, you know, the hospital. I just want to hang out with the kids. I want to read to them. I want to play with them. I want to make them feel like they're somebody special, even in this time of crisis. And, you know, that's always been a passion of mine. And I do, as much as I can, want to help all the kids in the world. If I could, I would just take all the kids, fly them out to my house, and just hang out with them all day long. I totally could. And as far as the organization for riders, I definitely want to do that. I see myself doing that in the hopefully near future. Excuse me. But in Supercross and motocross, there's something that we like to call privateers. And basically what privateers are is riders who don't get factory or sponsorship support from any outside companies. There's factory riders, you know, who get free bikes, free gear, you know, free parts, you know, free admission to the test tracks, all that stuff. And privateers have to buy everything for themselves. And that's always just made me feel so sad toward them. And I know a few privateers who are just extremely talented kids, and, you know, they're not even making it into any of the heat races or the main events, you know, during the night. And I do wish that I could help them. I do think if I could, I would make a foundation that definitely took in all the privateer riders, you know, found them sponsors, gave them a place to keep their bikes, you know, gave them a test track so they could ride on for free, you know, give them mechanics, give them trainers, give them everything, you know, that they would need, you know, in order to do good. And that's kind of my platform for Crosstalk, my show that I just came out with. Because with Crosstalk, I hope to bring awareness to the ins and outs of the industry and kind of help out some of the privateer riders and some of the Riders Down foundations and the MX Donations Foundation, which is all charities that help within the moto industry, you know, injured riders and riders who are struggling for money. So the answer is yes, I would love to do that. And I would love to do a charity for kids too, if I could. If I could, I'd do a charity for everything. You know, a charity for animals. A lot of animal cruelty out there that I'm really against. If I could, man, I'd just get all the money in the world and just make a whole bunch of charities and make this world a totally different place.
Oh, that's absolutely wonderful. And God, I hope you don't change that. I've come to find that there's all sorts of shades of people in the world, and it's nice and it's refreshing to hear someone young having such insight and having such a heart that he wants to give to so many people. That's absolutely lovely. And I commend your efforts. It's amazing to find a young man who does so very much with the little amount of time that he does have. So that's awesome. I want to talk a little bit about, obviously, of course, what you do. You have 5 fabulous functions, as I call them, which is designer, director, producer, show host, and charity supporter, amongst other things. Now, out of all those 5, maybe you could tell me in order, and this is just personal preference, out of all these things, maybe kind of put them in order of importance to you. What do you love the most? What are you best at?
Well, one thing that I really love the most is designing. Designing is a passion of mine, and I feel that it's a way that I express myself. So that's definitely, it's always been my goal, always been my dream, and it'll always be my passion. I'm designing, and with 165 Designs, I mean, I love it. Words can't even describe how much I love it. Just sitting there on the computer for hours with, you know, my music playing, just listening to it and getting the inspiration, and that to me is number one, hands down. Director, I love standing behind the camera. I love getting the angles and the different shots and some of the artistic point of views, as I like to call it. producer, I love to produce. I love to, create new ideas and definitely, get new show ideas and definitely put out shows that people can relate to and get good benefit and be inspired by. So that's definitely probably number 3. Photography, I love photography, but that to me falls along the same lines as designer because I use a lot of my photography with my shirt design. So I kind of adds both to that. What was the other one again?
That's okay. You're a producer. You're a show host. Obviously, we just talked about you being a charity supporter, and I know that where that lies. But I'm just trying to get a feel for it. If Spencer and I'm in his element, and I'm seeing him do all these different things. To each particular person, you love them all, but there's just some that are more significant to you, or one that
Exactly.
just really has your heart more than the others. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And hosting for me, I love to host. Honestly, I can't even put these in numbers because I love them so much. But hosting is definitely another huge passion of mine. It's like it falls along the same lines of growing up playing with the motorcycle toys. I used to sit there and do full-on races with the toys, and I used to announce. I used to interview the riders after. Keep in mind these are like little 1/10 scale little motorcycle toys you get from the box at Walmart. And I used to just, interview them and talk to them. And me and my brother used to have scooters, and we used to pretend we were on dirt bikes way back in the day before we were allowed to ride. So we used to interview each other and used to go back and forth. So I've always hosted my entire life, and that to me is definitely another huge passion of mine because it just comes so natural to me. I don't even have to try, and I love being able to do that, and I love giving people a spotlight, and I love making people laugh, and it's awesome. I love it all, definitely.
Sure, definitely. From what I could tell, it looks like you do it tremendously well, I have to say that, and we're going to get into talking about these shows and such, but I admire the fact that you are a younger individual and able to do so much and to carry yourself so very professionally, because sometimes maturity can be a challenge for all of us, whether older, younger, whatever have you, but you keep yourself together quite fabulously, I must say. This host will attest to multiplying your show number, meaning having one then another and another. Like myself, I have 3 shows. Anytime that you keep adding more and more and more onto your plate, being successful can be a challenge. For instance, of course, I know that you have hosting duties for the 4 that are listed. Crosstalk, you were just speaking about, Equality Television, CEN Kids, and of course, I want to say Project, but it's actually PRJCT 165. So I'd like you to, okay, gotcha. Our audience, I'm sure, is eager to hear the scope for each particular program, as well as what you feel you contribute personally to each one of those entities.
Definitely. It does add a little more onto my plate. It does get overwhelming at times, but I love it too much, and I kind of see past that, and I know that it's just a point in that point of the day that will go away after a while. And each one that I do, I like to pour a little bit of different parts of me, I guess you could say. In case you hear it for a minute. I love to put in different parts of me to every single one. With Equality TV, I believe in equality. I believe that, we are all free to be who we are. So that's kind of my inspirational side. With Project 165, that's my, artistic photography. That's, crosstalk. That's another part of me, which I'm happy with. With the motto and the being artistic and 165 design. Pouring out my heart in the creativity. And with seeing young kids, it's all about the kids. I love to, make the kids happy and make the kids laugh and make them feel good. So every show that I do, I like to bring in a different part of me and to make it better and to make it, more interesting for everyone so they'll want to watch it. So they'll, not go, oh, well, there's Spencer again, just doing the same thing over and over. I want it to be all different all the time. So when you watch it, you see a different part of me and you see me in kind of a different light each time.
So for instance, let's break these down so we can give people the scope for each one. So Crosstalk, primarily, purpose of that show is?
Purpose of Crosstalk is to definitely shine light on some of the privateer riders, get them some sponsors, and definitely show the ins and outs of the industry. Everyone doesn't really see, the real deep insights, you know, on the test track, you know, what these guys have to go through. And with Crosstalk, I want to bring awareness to what's going on inside of the industry, regards to on the TV or on the internet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then as it relates to, let's switch over to SEN Kids, the CEN Kids, because we checked out that earlier today and yesterday. Talk a little bit about because I know that you're one of a couple of different hosts that are on there. So what is your specialty? What do you bring exactly there, and what's the format of that show?
The format of CEN Kids is pretty much just to shine light on, you know, what kids are up to and what kids are into now, you know, like the concerts and the toys and the games and, you know, all the stuff that kids are drawn to nowadays. And my role that I play in that is I like to definitely bring awareness to what's out there and show people kind of what kids are doing. You know, not all kids are, you know, doing bad things, you know, doing, you know, stuff they shouldn't be doing, but they're also, you know, doing this kind of stuff. So I want to kind of shine a little bit of a different light on kids. And I know some kids kind of have some bad reps now and all that, so I kind of want to shine a little bit of a more inspirational side to the kids with that.
Okay. Now, my 7- and 9-year-old boys were wondering if maybe you had any influence to get more football put on that channel. Just throwing it out there. They're like, ask them, Mom, more football.
I've talked to the producers about getting more of a wider range onto sports and all that stuff. So we do have some more exciting things coming in the future, and I really hope they enjoy what's coming out. I think your kids will be very happy.
That's wonderful. All right, now flipping over to Project 165. Talk a little bit about the scope of that show.
Project 165 is my book that I'm coming out with. It's being published as we speak. Coming with all my photography pictures and crosstalks in there, and 165 design files in there as well. So that's pretty much, Project 165 is pretty much everything that I'm doing. Everything that's involved with myself or what I'm doing. Does that kind of make sense?
It does make sense, actually. I'm just curious about now, is that also inclusive of your Equality TV project, or is that completely separate of that?
Equality TV is not a part of Project 165.
Okay.
I know we are. I'm actually one of the producers of the show. We kind of, you know, helped him come up with the idea a little bit about that. But it's totally separate. The message that Equality puts out, though, is a part of Project 165. You know, freedom of equality, freedom of expression. That's all. The same morals come with Project 165, you know, because there is a thing in Project 165 that I have not yet come out with, that I'm very excited to come out with, is that I'm going to be going around to kids and people who are making a difference in the world, and I'm going to shine light on them and kind of interview them and kind of get a feel of what they're doing, so other people can be inspired by their stories and what they're doing to help make this world a better place.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Now, were these opportunities ones that did you just walk into a room and then you were, you know, one of 100 different people they interviewed and you got the position, or how exactly did you meander upon all of these various different opportunities?
It falls along the same lines of what I was talking about. You know, everything happens for a reason. You know, everywhere that I've gone has led me to each one of these projects and people that I'm working with. I mean, with Lisa May and Julie over at Equality TV, my dad actually hooked me up with that one. They knew me from someone that I had met, so they added me on Facebook, and then we scheduled a meeting, and then we met, and, you know, things just totally spun out. I mean, everything that Equality is doing wasn't even planned until we butted heads together, and I shouldn't say butted heads, but we brainstormed, and we made Equality what it is together as a team and as a unit. And with CEN Kids, I mean, I was doing a music video with Jimmy and Slade for our friend Billy, and that's how I met the producers over at CEN, because one of my co-hosts, Catherine, was at the video shoot. So we had met, and then, you know, I got into CEN, you know, because they said, you know, this kid's got some energy, you know, we want to have him a part of the show. So called me up next day, and we went up for an interview, and they stuck me out on the Hollywood Walk of Fame to interview just random people. And I had never interviewed at all in my entire life, like in front of a camera. That was my first time. So I was like freaking out and I was so nervous, and we did it and I got the job. And because of CEN, that's kind of what pushed me into doing, Project 165 and getting involved with everything that I'm doing and then crosstalk. So everything that I'm doing kind of set off of each other and had its own reason of how and why it started.
Sure. Makes perfect sense to me. Wonderful. Okay, I want to look in another direction, of course, which you started to speak about, which is, of course, the 165 designs. Maybe just talk a little bit about, so that listeners know, A, how to find your swag, as I call it. How do they find it? What do you envision for the future as far as to, are you going to be adding on designs, et cetera? What's your ultimate goal over the next year? Let's say that's something sort of good stuff. And, of course, are there any inspirations behind the collections, and is there any meaning to any of them?
Definitely in the future, I really want my brand to be up there with everyone else's brand, like DGK and, DC Shoes and, Young and Reckless. I want to be up there with the guys, but I want to take a different spin on the culture of, action sports and streetwear design. And I want to add more of an inspirational feel to it. You walk outside and, you see people with, T-shirts that are just about negative things. And I want to be a well-known brand that's known for the positivity that I bring to the shirts and inspiration. Because people don't realize, what they're doing. Like, bullies don't realize that they're bullying. And, people may not realize that they're negative or, like some people, some people may say, oh yeah, I'm not, a drug addict or anything like that, but yet, they're wearing a shirt that says, something in regards to that. So, when they see it, then they kind of realize, oh, well, maybe I am. I want to put stuff on my shirts where people are being inspirational without knowing they're being inspirational, if that kind of makes sense. So I want to be a big corporation here. I want to eventually have, a headquarters, have, sponsored athletes and just sponsor people who are making a difference and kind of shine light and bring a positive spin on that. And most of the collections that I come with are pretty much, I feel, expressions of who I am. I know the Unexpected Fake collection that I'm coming out with that has not been released yet, that I'm actually currently working on, is kind of spin off of my new book. It's called Dude, Wait, What, Huh? An Unexpected Fake. And so that's kind of a spin-off on the book as well, which the book is pretty much about everything that I've talked to you about earlier in the show, how I got into 165 and how I realized that everything happens for a reason. So each collection is different, and each one has its own feel and its own style. And all in all, I want to be stylish and stuff that people are going to wear,
Sure. Definitely, I understand. And I got to tell you, the look suits you, my darling. I went ahead and I just took a peek, and I went into the website, and I just watched you as you were modeling some of that clothing, and I thought to myself, yeah, this is definitely something that is catered for you. And so obviously I think that you'll have a nice enough crowd for your age bracket. Of course, certainly. Kudos to you. I wish it was female, otherwise I could wear it. But it's kind of like, that's okay.
Thank you. It's always good to hear that, because, oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
It's always good to hear that style suits, today's younger youth. Because today's younger youth, in my opinion, is just, I think this is probably one of the most stylish generations that we've ever had. So I love to be able to match up to that. But I also want to rise above it and be, greater and start new fashion, the new fashion generation. And, some of the shoots we've done, I was very fortunate to have some of my local friends actually come out and support. None of these kids were models. I literally just picked up the phone and said, hey, are you free on Tuesday afternoon? And we got their shirt sizes and hooked them up. So I'm so glad to hear that and that all worked out.
Definitely. Of course. And now everybody else will hear about it, and then they can go back and check it out like I did, because I got to tell you, it's pretty impressive. So kudos again, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but we have another similarity. First of all, you know or are acquainted with my friend Harry Haroon. How do you know Harry? I'm just curious. This is just a curiosity question.
I actually, I do not know that I know him. I know my manager manages my Facebook account, and I know that we have a lot of friends on there that are in common, but I personally do not know him. I know that is my manager doing branding, but from what I've seen, he seems like a really cool guy.
He's very, very nice. In fact, that's why I thought it was ironic. In fact, he and I are working on trying to get one of my reality treatments financed in England, as a matter of fact. So I just thought that was ironic. I'm like, oh, look, he knows Harry, too. Yes, a lot of exciting things happening on this side of the fence. But I was just more excited to talk to you. I'm like, you know what, I got all these frying pans in the fire, but it's just exciting to just sit down and bring exposure to somebody that no one may necessarily have heard of before, or somebody that already knows you and loves you, and it's an amazing experience, so I love it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. One of the things that I came across during my research was that you had made indication of you had sent Unexpected Fate, which is your work, to book editors. So talk to us a little bit about what that project is and what's going on with that.
Unexpected Fate is definitely it's my book that I'm coming out with. The whole Unexpected Fate, the name kind of came along, with me and writing. I thought I was going to grow up and be a pro, and when my fate changed, it was very unexpected, and it came to me in a form that I'd never even thought would have ever happened. I mean, I knew I was going to get hurt at some point, but I didn't think that was going to be my life changer. I mean, you would have thought that I would have gotten the clue, when bikes were blowing up and I missed a bunch of races and all that stuff, and, training wasn't working out, and I came down with a lot of weird sicknesses and just stuff that's, like, unheard of, and that was all unexpected. And when my fate changed, I thought, hey, you know what, this has got to happen, So, I mean, with the whole collection and everything, I wasn't even planning on doing that, but last year I had a point where I was struggling for things to do. Like, I couldn't think of anything, and I was getting so frustrated. And finally, I sat down, and for Throwback Thursday, I looked through a bunch of my pictures, and I came across a bunch of pictures from my accident, and I started watching them, and not watching them, looking at them. And so I was looking at the pictures, and I thought, wow, how unexpected that my fate changed. And I put down the pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I just came up with an idea for something for me to do. So I sat down, I started chalking up a bunch of stuff, and now I've got, a whole collection, hats, shirts, beanies, and all kinds of stuff that's going to come out toward the book. I want to release the Unexpected Fate collection with the book, so it kind of ties the two together, so you know that it's a package deal. But yeah, that's pretty much how that came along. And one thing that I forgot to touch base on is on my website, I have my website, 165designs.net. There's a spot on there called Designer Spotlight. And Designer Spotlight is pretty much for kids that were dealing with the same thing that I was dealing with. When I got my shirts done and ready to print, no one was able to do them without doing a minimum. And I had such a hard time finding people, to do, like one or two shirts to start out with, because they're saying, oh, you gotta do 30 shirts. And I'm like, well, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna sell 30 of these shirts. Why can't I just have, one or two to, give to my friends and family to wear around and, print off orders? So with my Designer Spotlight, I want to give people the opportunity to print ones and two shirts. So they'll send me their designs, and I can print them for them. But I can't print it on some of the equipment that I have, because I have a four-screen silk screen machine, and for those of you who don't know, it's how you print shirts. You put it out in the screen, and you pull the ink on the shirt, and there's a color limit. You can only do 4 colors, and some designs that I've gotten are just so awesome. Like there was like 14 to 15 different colors, and I felt so bad because I couldn't do it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to earn money for a direct-to-garment machine. And a direct-to-garment machine is pretty much like a regular printer you would have in your house, only for shirts. And it prints it straight onto the shirt. You can do anything you want on there, pictures, however many colors you want, 100, 150 colors for insane if you have that many colors. But it pretty much doesn't put a limit on what you want. So I'm launching a campaign here in the next month to help me earn and raise money for a direct-to-garment machine, so I can help out all of the young and up-and-coming clothing companies who want to make it in this industry as well as myself.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, as a sidebar, I wanted to ask, because I usually try to ask all my guests this, because obviously when you're recognized in the public eye, a lot of times people don't really know how to recognize you outside of that. So what's a typical, talk to me about Spencer Owens to get up in the morning. If there is such a thing as a typical day, what does that involve for you? On a personal note, what do you enjoy doing? Are you a closet science fiction geek, or is there things we'd be surprised to learn that you do that are normal?
I mean, a normal day for me, I mean, you know, we, all my parents work from, all my parents, my mom and dad work from home, my brother and I are homeschooled. You know, so I get to wake up every morning and see my family. I love to hang out with my little brother. We like to play PS3 a lot. We have a lot of moto games, actually. We race back and forth. We have some car games that we play as well. I love to work out. I'm a fitness freak, kind of. I like to eat right. I love being healthy. I love staying active. I love to ride my motorcycle still. I try to ride it as much as I can, but that's something I love to do during the day as well. I have chores I got to do Sundays as well. You know, so I'll go outside and do those and work with Grandpa and all that stuff. And I love music. I love to listen to music. It's kind of weird to say this on camera because I've never told anyone this before. But I kind of enjoy One Direction and Justin Bieber music sometimes.
Oh my gosh!
I think they have some good music. I don't like what the Beeb stands for, but on a music level, he does have some really catchy songs. So that's definitely something I think no one knows about me. I live in the country. No one knows that. I love to go outside. I love car rides. My brother often jokes about me, my dad will have to go to the bank and he'll say, "Hey, Spenny, you want to go?" And I'll go, "Yeah, I want to go." And my brother will call me like a puppy dog and stuff like that. So car rides, I enjoy car rides. I love macaroni and cheese and pizza, although it's unhealthy. Those are my unhealthy weaknesses. Bright's good too. So I don't eat those on a daily basis, but I try to eat those at least once a week just to kind of get my fix of it because it's just so good. But a normal day for me is pretty chill, actually. You know, hang out with friends when I can, have sleepovers, just kick it pretty much.
I understand. Now, the million-dollar question, of course, because there are some young ladies that listen to the show. So I must ask the question, which is there a girl pining over Spencer Owens, or is he currently single? I feel blushing.
I'm currently single. I'm currently single, and I'm gonna sound a little creepy, but I'm single and ready to mingle. I mean, no, but you know, I'm really busy, you know, too. So I mean, I always feel bad, you know, when a girl comes to me and she says she likes me because I'm so busy and I don't want to hurt the girl that I'm with because I'm too busy and I'm doing stuff. But yeah, I'm single. I mean, I'm open to anything really. But as far as relationships, I mean, I'm a busy guy, and I think maybe in the next few years or so, I'll maybe get a little more serious with a girl once I have my reign on things, and So I mean, but for now, I mean, I love friends. I love having friends and all that stuff too. So.
Absolutely wonderful. Now, I have one last question for you, but before I do that, I just want to go down this rundown real quickly in case I might have forgotten anything, because I want to tell everybody two different things. First of all, just so that you know, Spencer, along with everybody else who's listened today, shortly after we get done with our interview, this becomes an archived episode. So basically all year round, everybody can go back in and take a look, or listen, I should say, to the show that we did today, obviously. It can be played any given time, morning, noon, or night. Also, I have an individual that I work with that blasts them off on YouTube as well. So this way, then we get you more exposure. I will also go ahead later on today or tomorrow, post up all your social media links and all of your information so people know how to find you. So I want to do the rundown of your social stuff first. So I'll list all this off. Let me know if I forget anything. Spencer, of course, has his own personal page, which is Spencer Owens on Facebook. His Twitter handle is and that's Spence, S-P-E-N-C-E _Owens. You have a profile listed on IMDb. The website for Send Kids, www.sendkids.com, www.equalitytv.com. 165designs.net. I also know that you have an Instagram account. Am I forgetting anything?
Instagram account, I have my personal account, which is, it's Real Spenny D, and Spenny D is kind of my, my artist, designer name that I kind of go by. I mean, with all these artists, you got to have, a name that that's kind of unusual, and Spenny D has kind of been a nickname of mine for the past few years, because, with Hollywood and everything, you have to, you kind of have to have a personal account, where you can, still be a kid and, have your friends on it and kind of not be professional. I call it my, I sort of like vent and everything and, to say what I'm doing, throughout the day with like friends and whatnot. So my parents called me Spenny D. That's my account name. So, it's, so my account is Real Spenny D for Instagram, and it's also the same for Twitter, and 165 also has an Instagram, which is 165designs. And that's also on Twitter, which is, I think, 165D. I think 165designs was taken because I had previous 165 accounts, but I forgot to log in. So 165D is the official account that I manage for 165designs. And that's
Gotcha.
pretty much it. I mean, that's it.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. All right, on to our very last question. Two things I wanted to mention, of course. I wanted you to elaborate a bit upon, in case individuals don't know, you've actually been working on a film called Monster Killer, which I found about. And second of all, and more importantly, they may not know about your nomination for the Shorty Award. So maybe you could talk about these last two things for us, to our audience, if you would.
Monster Killer was a short film that I was very fortunate to be a part. I actually went to the audition with someone not even knowing that I was going to be in the film. I mean, talking again about how everything happens for a reason. I mean, I just went there for the car ride, and we went there, and he was like, how can you do voiceovers? And I'm like, voiceovers? I mean, I guess I'm alright at it. I mean, I've never done it before, and he's like, okay, well, here's what you got to do. And he was running it down for me. He was like, just say the lines and do it with feeling, and I want this. And I did it, and I kind of did a little mini audition for him, and he was like, oh, my gosh. He's like, this is so cool. He's like, okay, now read this line, and read this line, and read this line. And I was like, all right. So I ended up being one of the voices of the creepy possessed doll in the movie. And I was also a few voices of the soldiers and actually the dying soldiers. And in the movie, there's a soldier that dies, but they did a voiceover for it. So I was very fortunate to have been a part of that. And the Shorty Award, that just came up a few weeks ago, actually. I had no idea I was even nominated, but I'm pretty excited for it. I mean, I'm doing a little more research on it and all of that, so I think you can go to shortyawards.com and vote for me there under the artist, designer, and young actor categories in there. So that's that. It was totally unexpected that I was even doing the Shorty Awards, and I showed up on Twitter one morning and he said, I nominate Spencer Owens for a Shorty Award, and I'm like, what? Like, what's a Shorty Award? Like, I've never heard of it before. And then when you looked into it, it was a big deal. So my manager hooked it up and he got me some more categories, and so we're hoping to take something home for the Shorty, add that to the trophy wall.
Gotcha, absolutely. And that's wonderful, too, because honestly, until I had actually found out that you were coming on my show, I had not even heard of a Shorty Award. I know that sounds terrible, but apparently it's it is quite the accolade as it relates to social media, so that's kudos to you.
Yeah, well, hey,
you're out there doing it. It's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, I guess it's a big deal. I mean, it's for social media and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's pretty cool, and it sounds like a big deal, and I'm so blessed and so excited to be a part of it. So vote, and let's help bring Spenny a Shorty Award.
That's amazing. And, and it's funny, too, because I feel kind of silly saying it, like, what is that again? I don't really know. But I've heard of all sorts of awards in this time. In this last 2.5 years of doing radio, you hear just about anything from just about anybody. So everybody gets kind of nominated for their own thing. But that's cool. What can I say? So I just have two little more tidbits of business here, and I will let you off the hook in our last 5 minutes here. There's just a couple of things I want to say real quick. First and foremost, I wanted to say a big shout-out to Danny Duraney. This is, you are the very first client of his that's been on my show today. So hopefully, if I've done you good enough justice, he'll be satisfied and happy. So Danny, I want to say thank you so much for bringing Spencer onto my show. He's been an absolute delight, absolutely fabulous time we're having here, and I'm so proud that I was able to spend some time with him. So thank you. Without you, that would not be possible. Second of all, and lastly, I wanted to say to you, Spencer, if you've not heard my show before, you wouldn't know this, but the very last thing that I do at the end of every interview is to tell the individual that's come on my show exactly what I think of him. So you get to hear about yourself for just a little bit. So prepare yourself, and I hope you're sitting in a chair. Are you sitting down? It won't be too
I'm sitting down.
Most of the time when I do this, people have either cried or they didn't say anything, or it was, I'm not quite sure. So we'll give it our best shot. So these are my impressions, the interviewer to the interviewee, on Mr. Spencer Owens. First of all, I have to tell you that I was just quite impressed. First and foremost, a lot of times publicists will come to me and they'll ask me to interview someone. In this particular case, you are a bit younger than my average guest that comes onto my show. But what's nice about you is that you might be young, but your achievements set you far above the bar of what some of the older gentlemen and individuals that I know do. You have decided to set yourself a standard despite the fact that something that you love very much has been taken from you. Instead of taking that and wallowing in it, you have turned it around and blossomed it into something that's far more superior, something that from what I can tell and in watching you, is something that you take great pride in and that you take great passion in. I've always believed that everything that you do, you should do well and with great passion. And you resonate the foundation of passion, of motivation, of happiness, of this inner spirit that speaks of honesty. You have such youthful excitement to you. I foresee great things for you because you're humble and because you're honest and because you're just so loving, and especially to some of the littlest people in the world. So I'm hoping that if I'm able to help you with your future endeavors, I'm standing here and I'm saying I'll promote you. I'll be your #1 fan. I'm already your #1 fan. And I would be so, so happy if you tell me that you will come back when you become even bigger and more famous and talk to me about it some more.
Thank you so much. I
That's
definitely will come back. I had such an awesome time here. It's a dream come true, you know, to have people, you know, just even ask me to come on their show and just talk to them is such a blessing for me. And being able to get my story out there and be heard is again, you know, a blessing. And anytime you want me on the show, I will definitely be here. I'll be your #1 supporter as well. I'd love to give back to people who give to me to return the favor, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. It was very touching, everything you said. I'm getting kind of emotional. I'm a very emotional person. So
goodness.
It's
I'm sorry.
No,
I just call it like I see them. Oh, that's fine. I mean, I think we had an absolutely lovely time. I try to make sure that everybody that comes on my show not only is presented in the best possible light, but secondly, that you know, interviews aren't supposed to be very serious and very mundane and the same old questions. So hopefully I've brought someone more information about you on a different light or things that they never knew about you before. And if I've done that, then hopefully I've done you justice. And if not, you just keep coming back until I do. How's that sound?
I'm going to keep bugging you to get the information out you need to get out.
That sounds perfect, my dear. Absolutely wonderful. I'll be crossing my fingers. I'm going to go vote for you. If not today or tomorrow, I'll be this week for sure on the Shorty Awards. And like I said, I'll post all your information up sometime tonight so that this way listeners can go back, either listen to the interview or else they can get more information about you. And I'll let you go and finish off the show. So you have yourself a wonderful day, Mr. Owens.
Awesome. You too. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for listening. I had such a great time. Cindy, thank you so much. This is a dream come true. I wish you best of luck with your show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, dear. Take care. All right, friends, that was Spencer Owens. I just want to do another rundown in case y'all weren't listening the first time. He has a personal page on Facebook, which is Spencer Owens. He has a profile on IMDb, 165designs.net, which would happen to be the clothing line, www.senkids.com, www.equalitytv.com. His Twitter handle is Spence, which is SPENCE_Owens. And that's OWENS. In the future, hopefully, I'll be hearing sooner than later from him as it relates to the upcoming book, Unexpected Fate, as well as Project 165. Once again, a real quick thank you to Danny Rainey. Thanks again for bringing me your client. Absolutely fabulous time we had. As far as for tomorrow's details on the show, as I understand it, we may or may not, because I don't have confirmation yet, have our Milwaukee local KISS tribute band coming on the show tomorrow. And if that's the case, we'll be back on at 12 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. If not, look for forward to our show on Wednesday, which is always the best show ever. Why? Because it's the third returning guest, Angela Tristan, who happens to be in my book, UK musician, just like a son to me. I think I can't revere any one guest more than I do Angela Tristan. So if we're not on the air tomorrow, join us Wednesday, 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. Angela Tristan, look for all my information on Spencer Owens later today. And I thank you so much for listening. You have yourselves a wonderful afternoon.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
What you doing?
Ran out of space on my phone, so I'm deleting some stuff. By singing dog. By goal.
I pronounce you.
By wedding ceremony.
Stop. At Metro PCS, you get 2 free phones with twice as much memory.
Really? Don't say bye to your memories. Switch to Metro PCS and get 2 free LG K20 Plus phones with 32 gigs when you switch 2 lines. Metro PCS. Wireless. Figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.